Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time that you are watching this video. I am Richard Taylor, coming back with another video concerning the Dillard Middle School in Goldsboro, North Carolina, with the actions of the principal, Mr. Ray, in his treatment of students. If you've watched any of the four previous videos, I've interviewed a community citizen, a former teacher. Mr. Ray actually chimed in himself with his version of the events and his behavior. And today I have a former staff at the school. I'm going to let her tell you her position and her reasoning for chiming in. But the major reason that I got involved was the arrest of a 12-year-old child for an incident that stemmed from her chewing gum in the hallway, and that encounter led to her being charged with some serious misdemeanors and receiving 1 year probation and being expelled from the school for a year. So today I have, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself and tell you what she is, Miss Jahlisa Harris, if I'm not mistaken. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I thank you for taking the time once again to give your perspective on the situation, because you were a assistant behavior specialist, if I'm not mistaken, at the school. So you were able to see the incident and see his behavior firsthand. So I'm going to give you the floor and allow you to give the reasoning why you're here and your position at the school.
Okay. Well, like you said, my name is Jahlisa Harris, and I work as the behavior assistant at Dillard Middle. Um, Last year, I worked as the ISS teacher. I was responsible for all students that received in-school suspension. And my reason for coming on and doing this interview today is to respond to Mr. Ray. I was able to hear his interview, and since he spoke on my name and the situation, I just felt it was only right that I came on and told what I actually witnessed and what I filed agreements with the Board of Education with.
Okay, and let's start with that grievance, I guess, because that'll give um, us a difference. Because of course, I think everyone heard his version, and what did you witness that is different than what he explained, or what was your grievance about?
My grievance was basically about the treatment that Trinity received that morning of EOG testing. Um, and it was more so because Mr. Ray did not allow me to carry out my job duties as a behavior assistant, which includes crisis intervention. And so after seeing her treatment, I just felt that it was only right that I spoke up. I had saw throughout the school year how he treated students, but the treatment of Trinity was just the icing on the cake. So I felt like I needed to speak up about it.
Okay, and I'm looking at some of the essential functions and responsibilities of a instructional behavior assistant. It says praise and reinforce achievement of students, monitor student behavior and help maintain discipline in the classroom, uh, consistently monitor the safety and well-being of students, attitudes, and encourage self-esteem. Now, one thing that I did see in Mr. Ray's response to your grievance was that he said he did not like your relationship with the students because you showed impartiality to them.
Yes, sir.
In which
Yes, sir.
I thought that was weird, because I thought the students were the main focus of the school.
Yes, sir. And um and then working as the ISS teacher, it wasn't like I went into the classrooms with the students, or I seen students on an everyday basis. I only seen students whenever they were sent to me for behavior issues. So some of those students might spend 2, children at Dillard Middle. So I would take the time to encourage them, what can you do to do better? What did you do that was wrong? Trying to help better them and try to keep them in the classroom so that they had the opportunity to learn. But Mr. Ray saw that as me being impartial. He also, like he stated in the last interview, he thought that Trinity was even my family member. I am not related to any child at Dillard Middle except for one child who was in the 6th grade, who was actually in the classroom when the incident happened with Trinity.
Okay.
So not only did it affect Trinity, my child saw this incident happen also. It affected her.
Okay. And so go back, because, that's one thing that he, tried to use as his defense, was that, you were nowhere around, or Miss Clark wasn't nowhere around. But then, so you do have some inside information on what happened. So could you walk us through what you know about the event, as opposed to, what Mr. Ray is alleging how it happened?
Yes, sir. So just to be very clear, I never seen what transpired between him and Trinity downstairs in the 6th grade classroom.
Okay.
I only witnessed what happened once Trinity came up the stairs and ran into the bathroom. But my reason in knowing what happened with Trinity in that classroom with Mr. Ray is because, like I said, my child was in that classroom. So my child has firsthand knowledge of the interaction.
Oh, okay. So that he disagreed, or he discredited the notion that he told all the students to leave out of the classroom.
Yes, sir. Dillard Middle School begins letting children at 8:15 a.m. The tardy bell rings at 8:35 a.m. Mr. Ray has a standard that at 8:35, all students are expected to pick up a book and read. So from 8:35 to 9 o'clock, all students are reading. So when this incident took place, it would have been a classroom full of kids because it was after 8:35 a.m. It was not 2 kids in the classroom. And like I stated, my child was one of those students, and she said that it was more than the two students that Mr. Ray claimed was in the classroom. And she then went on to say that he was trying to block Trinity's movement into getting into the classroom. Trinity went up under his arm, ducked up under his arm, went into the classroom, and sat at her desk. At that point, Trinity, she's ready for testing. That was the expectation for every child at Dillard Middle that morning. She came in and sat down at her desk. Mr. Ray then wanted her to leave out of the classroom because he did not like her response and him asking her to spit out the gum. So as my child stated, at that time, Mr. Ray asked her and every other child in that classroom to get up and go across the hall to another class. They were all moved. My child then stated that Trinity was left in the classroom with Mr. Ray and Mr. Stevens, the behavior specialist, as Mr. Ray continued to yell things at her like, "I'm going to get you out of here." So then Trinity reacted. He's yelling at her, she's yelling at him. To the point where she ran out of the classroom. And at this point, I'm upstairs on the 8th grade hallway, maybe 100 feet or less from this bathroom that the commotion steams from.
Mm-hmm.
I see Trinity come up the stairs, and I automatically, because I know her from being an ISS student, I automatically know that she's in the 6th grade and she's not supposed to be on this hall.
Okay.
So So I asked Trinity as she's coming up, I said, Trinity, what are you doing up here? She did not respond to me. She went directly in the bathroom. And at this moment, I did not know why. A few seconds later, because I guess he moved a little quicker than what Mr. Stevens and Mr. Ray moved, they came up the stairs and they was unaware of her location. So I told them that she was in the female's bathroom. So as she's in the bathroom, Mr. Ray is outside of the bathroom door. So she wanted to come out of the bathroom. She couldn't because she would have been met by Mr. Ray, who's yelling. And he's yelling up the hallway, and on his walkie-talkie at the same time, but his voice is so loud that it's carrying, through the hallway. To the SRO officer to call the police. We have to get the student out of here. We cannot start testing until she's removed. But he's so enraged that he doesn't even know that the SOR officer who he's paging on the walkie-talkie is directly in front of him at the other end of the hallway. So at this point, he's still hollering those same things. Call the police. Where's the police? He's just really yelling at the SRO officer because he wants the police there immediately. Where they at? And so we have Mr. Ray, Mr. Stevens, the SRO officer, and the school counselor, social worker, outside of this bathroom door at this time. 3 men and 1 woman. And there was also an assistant that was standing off, so she wasn't too much involved in the situation, but she was there. They're trying to get her to come out of the bathroom. So I asked because I see that she's not responding to anybody.
And so you asked.
The lady social worker.
Okay, and you asked to intervene?
Yes, sir. At that point, I asked to intervene because, like I said, I'm less than 100 feet away. I'm standing outside the classroom door. And at that time, because it was top of EOG testing, you have test administrators and test proctors.
Mm-hmm.
I was serving in the capacity as a test proctor, meaning I did not have to stay in that classroom. I was able to leave from where I was at to help. But Mr. Ray told me I could not help and that I needed to remain with the class that I was in.
Even though testing hadn't started yet, though. Right?
Excuse me?
I said testing hadn't even started, though yet, right?
No, sir.
Okay.
Like I said, the kids' homerooms are full. Kids are in the hallways, the 8th grade hallway. At that time, we allowed them to use the bathroom before testing. So, they don't have to get up during testing to go. So, the 8th grade hallway was full with 8th grade. It wasn't an empty hallway or anything like that. And in the midst of them going to the bathroom, he's yelling, calling police. And so, this is getting them excited, riled up, when they're supposed to be prepared for testing.
Mm-hmm.
So, he made the scene more chaotic than what it should have been. Nobody knew that Trinity was in that bathroom. Nobody knew what transpired downstairs. So Mr. Ray at that point, he could have handled the situation. Maybe not as so much as quiet, but a little less than what he did.
Uh-huh. So now, when they finally get her out the bathroom, do you encounter her? Do you see her?
Yes, sir. And I just want to make this clear. No one ever got her out the bathroom. Once she noticed that she did not hear Mr. Ray yelling anymore, she came out of the bathroom on her own.
Okay.
But what she did not know is that she was going to be greeted by the SRO officer who was standing outside waiting. So when she came out and she noticed that he was there, she was still agitated. So I asked her to come to me, which she did. And, I tried to calm and relax her. And the SRO officer told her, your mother is downstairs. So I'm telling her myself, after he stated that, Trinity, go downstairs. Your mom is there. Your mom will be waiting for you. So at that point, she followed my direction, and she went down the stairs. And then I later found out after testing and her going down the stairs, she ended up with 5 charges. And I honestly don't believe she would have received those 5 charges had Mr. Ray let me intervene and accompany her to where he needed her to go.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I expressed too. That once again, it seemed like a mental health crisis. With the child, being distraught, being upset, and though that is no reason, for the first thing to be remedied is the police. So she gets the 5 charges, and actually, I think you sent me his recommendation that she would be. The letter to her family said that he was recommending that she would be suspended.
Yes,
for
sir.
365 days.
For 300. Yes, sir.
And she was charged with kicking, slapping officers or whatever. And during the 10-day suspension. So a 365 suspension from Dillard Middle School is appropriate. Now on this, he said, that on the interview, I think he said that he had welcomed her back, but I think this letter you said is only 2 days after the incident, and so
yes, sir.
And so and I thank you for just really clarifying that, because he actually admitted that he couldn't tell you what the volume of his voice, which kind of indicates to me that anytime somebody can't tell you how loud they were, that probably means they were out of control or in a rage or whatever. So
and
go ahead.
The yelling this was not the first time. If you are a student of Dillard, a teacher of Dillard, this is an everyday occurrence with Mr. Wright. If sometimes students come in the doors at 8:15, he's yelling at them. By 8:25, school hasn't even started. They might be in ISS for today. He creates this environment from the time they come in until they leave and get on those school buses at the end of the day. So this was something that's normal to him. That's why he doesn't know the extent to how much he was yelling.
Yeah, and as a testament to that, I think you sent me some conversation with some teachers that I think watched the video. She said one of them said one thing that caught my attention in the first video was where he says he tries to tell them that handling things with anger is not the way. But with Mr. Ray, you either become the victim by letting him talk to you that way, or you are the victim that causes you to fight back. And one teacher, I think, goes on to say, Ray demeans people to make himself bigger. That's why I left, because I will never have respect from the kids at a school where he didn't even hide disrespect to me. And then one person agreed. Someone told her from day one not to let him bully you, and I didn't get it at first. But after the first time my kid got sick and I had to leave, or I was not in the duty spot he wanted me in, it was game over. So I think that is a testament. And one teacher said he came in my room yesterday asking why I didn't have my class in their seats and all that, and he yelled. She said I'm gonna have to talk with him when I'm done stewing because I got to get paid. I guess that was her way of saying, okay, I want to talk to him, but I don't want to fuss him out in danger of losing my job.
Yes, sir.
So those are from the teachers and in your complaint, you outline once again the yelling and things. Let me see.
Yes, sir. And I just want to say, in response to what those people said, far as accepting the that was just the environment that he created. You either kind of accept it or stand up to him, you're retaliating against. And that even happened to me in filing the grievance. While I was in the middle of writing my grievance, and sending it over to the assistant superintendent, I received, I guess, the offer for how my position will go coming into the new school year. So he spoke to me as if he expected me to be back this upcoming school year. And once I filed the grievance and he was able to read, what I needed to say, he then recommended that I was transferred to another school. So how can all in a matter of a day you offer me another position, and then once I speak out about your action, now you want me transferred?
Yeah, and I saw that too. Of course, that's blatant retaliation. For you being brave enough to speak out on behalf of the student, but also on behalf of yourself. And there's once again and the subsequent court situation as well, because you have talked to the mother as well, and how did she kind of feel initially about this? I know you can't speak for her, but if you
initially, when actually on the day of the incident, because we had an expectation of all staff and students had to put their cell phones in a box prior to testing. So I did not have access to my phone until after testing. And I received a message via Facebook from the mom. And she basically told me at that point, during the meeting, when she went up to the school, when her daughter was arrested, for one, her daughter was carried out in handcuffs and was already at the annex building whenever she got there. So her child was not present. They had already handcuffed her and took her to the annex. She was not there. And then she went on to say that Mr. Rice told her that his reason for not allowing me to help was because he did not like our relationship. And like I stated, I'm not related to this child. I did not spend time outside of school with this child. I only see her when she was sent to me for in-school detention. So I didn't quite understand what relationship, the only relationship I have is therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I'm doing my job. So why would you use that as a reason to hinder the help that this child could have received? And in that moment, that was my reason for filing the grievance. That was more of a reason to file the grievance against him. And I also mentioned that in the letter that the mother told me about this statement he made.
Yeah, and he should actually like the fact that a teacher has that kind of relationship with a child that is experiencing disciplinary problems. That in my book you should have been considered as an asset. Not a
Yes,
not a liability. And it's a few comments I definitely want to read. One, I guess she's a mother, said I can attest that he can be very disrespectful and aggressive. He was so rude when we first met that I almost lost my religion and cursed him out. My son whispered in my ear, said, "Mom, he's trying to get a reaction out of you. Don't give him the satisfaction." Now that's a child who realizes, I guess the tactics, I would assume,
yes, sir.
that I guess you and others have witnessed.
Yes, sir.
And here I actually received a message from a student. She said, "Do you have an email? I'm a student, and me and some other students have some incidents." Now this is a student at the school who has voiced her concerns, and I think I sent you that one message of the young girl that said, "I'm going to read this one as well because this, and like I told them, this is, I just don't see anybody just making these things up for fun." Let me see. I think I sent that to y'all. Oh yeah, here you go. So the girl said, "All this is true. I am a student of Dillard, and he's so rude and mean. I like Miss Wilson better." Now, who is Miss Wilson? Do you know her?
Miss Wilson is the assistant principal.
Okay. She said, "I asked, can we have our phones on?" Excuse me, I'm finished reading this. "I asked, can we have the phones on the last day, and he yelled at me and said, 'No, you can't have. You can have your phone at home. If you don't need it here, goodbye.'" So that's just one of the many comments that I've received. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Miss Wilson, she is excellent with those students. She really works on de-escalating, where Mr. Wright is for escalating.
Okay.
He doesn't get a response for it from a kid that he wants. It's escalated. It's escalated, and it's sad. It's sad, and he's not a bad person. Mr. Wright is not a bad person at all. He's just not the principal that's meant for these group of children.
Yeah, I mean, that's and I hear that a lot. Like one comment said, "Yeah, he's not a bad guy," but once again, that doesn't mean you're right for these type of children. Everybody knows, the demographic of the students at Dillard, and they need someone who understands. And here's another, I think, student right here on the previous video says, "So basically, at least 6 to 7 weeks in the school year, I would constantly complain about another student to him, and he would do the bare minimum to solve it. And that eventually led us to fighting one day, and he only cares about drama that happened in the previous year and not the others. And he used to send kids to ISS when things wouldn't go his way, and basically he would throw tantrums like he's a baby. I guess." And this is also a 7th grade teacher who was a really nice lady, and every time he's around her, students will noted that he has. Oh, okay. I guess he was this child is getting a little. I guess some flirtation going on, but that's neither here nor there. But I think this kind of corroborates, I guess, the overall environment or the demeanor or the attitude that leads to these kind of situations.
And far as like what that student said, far as ISS, the numbers at ISS on a, let's say, a weekly basis might be about 100 kids, but of those 100 kids, it might be about 10 that's there 3 days out of the especially, like I said, working at Dillard Middle School. These group of students are not the students that he needs to work with.
Mm-hmm. And so now I think you have actually moved on from that
Yes,
from that school as well. You accepted another position, and so I guess you wouldn't have to deal with any of these things any longer. But there are some, once
well,
again,
it's not even the fact that I will still have to deal with these things because my daughter still attends Dillard Middle. And even in last year when I was there as a parent and as an employee, I had to try to protect her from some of the different things Mr. Wright did. And so I'm just really speaking out now and trying to, I want him to change because my daughter has to go back into the environment.
okay.
And I want to be able to know that when I'm at work, he's okay at the school that I've left her at.
I understand that's every parent's and also citizens' concern, about the welfare and the safety of, 12, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old children who are, once again, sent to learn and not, end up with criminal charges. That's very
Right.
that's very counterproductive, especially with what we see with the numbers in the judicial system. So that's my main concern is just
Right.
knowing how to relate to the children, knowing how to de-escalate, knowing how to not escalate. Period. Not learning how to, because like I told him, I know some kids can be very disrespectful, very combative, but I don't take it personal. It looks like a lot of time from what I'm hearing and the things that he takes that disrespect or that challenging personal, not knowing that
He doesn't like to be challenged. That's correct.
Yeah, so but hopefully these videos shed some light on the concern and once again, if just get him to realize that people are going to be watching and listening and advocating for the children. So I certainly thank you for sharing your experiences and providing information that kind of gives the public an insight to what has happened, what has been happening, and hopefully what we hope to change. So is there anything else that you want to add that we didn't cover?
No, sir. I'll kind of leave it at that.
Okay, well, I certainly thank you. And I thank you for the work that you've done with the students and, with Miss Trinity dealing with this situation, being an advocate for her, stepping up to the plate and actually literally putting your job on the line, as you can see, for you speaking up. He was asking for you to be resigned. Fortunately, you had already had a previous offer. But once again, like the teacher mentioned, she has to get paid, and that's something that we have to work on as a people, especially when dealing with kids, where we sometimes we have to sacrifice and stand up for what's right. But I know that that's not in everybody's DNA, and I understand that. But I certainly thank you for being one of the ones to sacrifice and speak up and lay it all on the line for the kids. So I thank you, Ms. Harris, for joining us. And if there's anything, once again, I can do to help or bring more issues to light with this situation, please let me know.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Share this video. If y'all have any comments or questions, you can call me direct, 919-587-7782, and I'll put you in touch with the proper people. If you have any comments, concerns, additions, and things like that, things that you can help, feel free. But thank y'all for watching the video. God bless y'all. Peace and blessings.